Welcome to the Fit Dads podcast. My name's Ryan Dutton. I'm joined by the man himself, Mr. Brad Thompson, and December is fast approaching. This is, for us, a tricky month to navigate as people who train, as coaches, the information we get to our clients. So we want to try and give you some of our general advice and tips when it comes to how we keep people in shape, on track, on the straight and narrow over this very tricky to navigate month of December. And I've got a few things down here that I'm going to share with you that I kind of give to my clients. I think Brad's the same. You got a few things lined up?
Yes, I have. I've said to you before we started, I've got a very unique view on what is known with my clients as silly season.
Okay.
It's silly season, isn't it?
It is, yeah. But for good reason. And it should be. It should stay that way. We want to keep it fun. We want to keep it light-hearted. You shouldn't be too massively orientated around pushing on massively with your goals, but can we have some damage limitation protocols in place so that you're not going completely off the rails?
Well said.
Probably ties in quite nice to some health and fitness facts as we're doing so frequently now on these episodes with me and you. And this one's orientated specifically around December. So let me throw some things at you. The average weight gain during December is shorter than you think. It's only about half a kilo to a kilo over the 4-week period for most people. Calorie intake spikes by 20 to 30%. People often consuming between 400 and 600 calories per day, extra compared to other months. Gym attendance dips, but running apps surge. Gyms typically see a 10 to 20% drop off in attendance in early to mid-December. Interestingly, outdoor activities, tracking apps like Strava often report surges in solo workouts, possibly because of the people's fitting for flexible and shorter sessions between social plans. That's quite a good point, actually, isn't it? I think people are generally more socially active, so they fit in these kind of small, short workouts. Mindfulness apps peak the week before New Year. Alcohol consumption at its highest, you didn't need me to tell you that. Average adult doubles their alcohol intake over the December period. People lift heavier but train less often. Cold weather boosts calorie burn by 5 to 10% on average.
There's some very informative facts there.
So whether that means go and do some cold walks and you might burn off some of those extra calories and alcohol bits, I don't know, but it is a great time for socialising, isn't it? Let's be honest, there's loads of things in the month of December that are going to get you outside, whether it's that week between Christmas and New Year where you're seeing family and friends, whether it's just the fact you've got more time on your hands and you can go and meet up with mates and have a session together. But it's the food that's the tricky bit, isn't it? What's your general advice on food?
General advice on food, I like to navigate around the goals that we set around that time. So for us, I always have a chat and think, okay, if we are still in a deficit around Christmas time, why are we in a deficit around Christmas time? Is there a specific goal? Are you going on holiday in January? Or are you just in that habit of trying to shrink yourself or trying to really strip down? Unless there's an actual date, I'll likely shift the goals just to give them that bit of wiggle room, because otherwise, I always say to people, you're going to be swimming upstream. Because everything around you is indulgent. Everything around you it's hard to just rely on willpower alone. So I'll always question, do we need to be in a deficit around December time?
I like that approach for people that are really busy, for sure, especially. And what I'll start to do this time of year is, as we enter into November, I'll start to drop a few questions with clients, both online and one-to-ones, where I'll say, what's your plan for Christmas Day? What do you do? Try and start up a little bit of a conversation about what the kind of usual plan is. That might then spark into kind of things that are going on during December. Yeah, I usually do like a bit of a Christmas do with the kind of my mates from kind of back home, or I'll do it with the work lot. We might have a football team that they go on a Christmas do with. And if I'm seeing someone who's got 3 Christmas do's, multiple nights out, meeting up with family and friends, maybe they're away for Christmas, that's someone where I'm thinking, let's change that goal of progressing into can we at least maintain and go into a kind of maintenance phase with your calories. I always say to anyone, like, if you can come out the back end of December having maintained your weight, you've probably done really well, to be honest with you.
You only have to look at that stat that you gave, but were, half a kilo to a kilo average gain, which we know that's over the course of a couple of weeks, could be a couple of pounds of body fat. We never know.
Yeah. But I think most of the time, probably going to be either water weight or body fat. We see that a lot over the Christmas period, where people go on kind of one night out, they get stung a little bit, they come in, they're a half kilo and a half up, and 2 or 3 days later they're back down to baseline, as it sometimes is these things, as long as they can jump back on the horse pretty quick. My biggest hazard is that week between Christmas and New Year, the black hole week of the year, where kind of, food's plentiful, fridges are full, alcohol is well and truly flowing, you're off work, you want to socialise, you want to make the most of your week off at Christmas. That for me is the trickiest thing to navigate. And what I'll start by saying is Christmas Day, let's start there, right? Christmas Day for me is a full day off.
Oh yeah.
Have whatever you want. There are genuinely no restrictions from me. Get anything you need out of your system, because the last thing I want is you on Christmas Day weighing your Christmas dinner out, counting your calories.
Yeah.
I don't want you saying no to things and sitting there with a bit of a kind of a grim look on your face, not enjoying the one day that's meant to be about family, friends, being in a good mood. So have whatever you want Christmas Day. Food and alcohol, I'm not too bothered. But as soon as we hit Boxing Day, can you start getting back into some habits around what the general norm is? And I tend to find that whatever day Boxing Day falls on is quite pivotal. Because if Boxing Day is like a Monday, it's like, oh great, it's a Monday, I can kind of get back on it now.
Start again.
But if Boxing Day is like a Saturday,
it's crap, innit?
It's shit. It's half to go, well, and that it does, unfortunately, it does influence how good. So actually, should we work it out?
I'm just having a look now,
Yeah, work it out.
So this year, Ryan, Christmas Day is on a Thursday.
So we have our backs against the wall, people.
Yeah, basically.
So Christmas Day is on a Thursday. Friday is Boxing Day, which for most people is pretty good. You get a nice weekend in there as it's Boxing Day into the kind of the New Year, into kind of the Christmas Day week. But I think that you've got to be quite savvy with that, and you've got to look at kind of where the hazards are. And that weekend is quite, that first few days post Christmas is quite pivotal. You won't put on massive amounts of weight, even if you have 5,000-6,000 calories on Christmas Day. If you have a good few days after that, you'll be surprised how much that is just water weight, and it comes off pretty quick. Your body can't digest and use that amount of food if it's not used to kind of taking it on board. So you can get yourself in some good kind of places Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is the 26th, 27th, 28th. But what you're going to have to admit is the quality of food might drop. And so I generally tend to say to people, right, well, what is your plan over that Friday, Saturday, Sunday following Christmas? What events have you got on? Well, we've got a big meal planned Saturday night, got family and friends coming over. Great. Well, your usual calorie range is in this kind of area. Can we just save most of the calories for that? It's probably not too dissimilar to what I would recommend if someone was on a normal month eating out, whether it's the birthday or whatever. Can we save most of the calories for the evening time and just navigate a lot more days and weeks like that? Flexible dieting, I think, is key.
Yeah. With
that, sticking within macros and calories, but having the quality of food drop a little bit.
Definitely. And I think psychologically, when it comes to that weird, you mentioned like the black hole or the hazardous period between Christmas and New Year, I could not have put that better myself. I really like the thought of if you are going on, for a big knees up, you got a Christmas do, you've got a big meal coming up. I always like to train that day, whether it's in the morning, then you're out in the evening time. I think mentally, psychologically, it seems to offset a little bit for me, where you go, do you know what? I might not feel as much of a piece of shit when I just fill myself up completely, stuff myself to the brim, have a skin full. Something about it psychologically just sort of goes, I don't have trained today.
Yeah,
it's a really weird psychological thing, and
I think you can fall into also a little bit of a trap with that as well, where you think, right, I've trained today, so I can pretty much have whatever I want. It doesn't really work like that. I think there's a rule that I use when clients are kind of eating out, and it's like the 70% rule. Can you just leave the table feeling 70% full and not overdoing it? Very hard to do around Christmas because there's so many different foods that just aren't in the kind of normal routine. Christmas puddings, pigs in blankets. We aren't having these things at any other time in the year. Not unless you're an absolute nutter, by the way. But yeah, these things just aren't kind of on your repertoire of foods you associate numbers with. So
maybe tricky as well, if you are one of those people who is persevering and saying, no, I'm going to stay in this deficit around Christmas time, but you maybe taking that approach Ryan said and completely have Christmas Day as a bit of a write-off. On the build-up to it, because it's so social as a time, that peer pressure is tough.
Yeah.
If someone knows that you've got a holiday, an event coming up, I think we've spoke before about they see it as a bit of a challenge. So it could be that you end up just saying, again, I'll stand by this. No, I'm all right, I don't want to. Rather than saying, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. They see it as a challenge maybe to break you down and be like, I knew we'd get that pudding down you. It's a weird psychological thing once again. So depending on where you're at and what you choose to do, I genuinely think making your ambitions really clear without being too neurotic about it, of course.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I totally agree. Literally gave out the same advice this morning to a guy who's got a tricky situation to navigate tomorrow, where he's busy all day. He's at an event in Manchester, but he's not really sure whether he can get off and do like some walking and keep his step count high. So I said, right, first thing you want to do when you get there is kind of drop in that, you're on this bit of a fitness kick and you're trying to increase your daily step count, and the chances are today I'm probably not going to get amazing amounts, so just drop in there early. If there's an half an hour that we've got in between, because he plays instruments, so there's a lot of sitting down playing for people. He says, if we've got half an hour where the speaker's up talking and it's not looking like, we're up, and maybe I've got an hour, for example, I might go and get half an hour's walking and get my steps up, and drop that in early. Set the intention early doors, so that halfway through you're not disappearing and people are like, where the hell's he gone? Same thing around Christmas time. Go in there with the intention of being like, yeah, I've lost a few pounds recently, feeling really good, and then when it comes to saying no to that extra Baileys, saying no to that extra cheesecake, people are going, oh yeah, he's on a fitness kick, he's doing really well, it's all right. They understand you've set that intention early doors. That for me is a great point actually from you, and I think definitely setting that intention as early as you can in the day. And
if you are someone again who's like your client, who's at an event, is busy, he's got other stuff going on, like his attention is required elsewhere. Sometimes just being aware of how you can build a meal or build a snack is quite important. So I caught up with Connor Rhodes recently, who I've shouted out quite a lot, and he spoke about being aware of how you can plan, portion, and then pause a little bit. So if you can be like, okay, I'm going for this event in Manchester, I know there's a pita place around the corner, let me just have a quick look at the menu. You're planning, and then you might be portioning, being like, do you know what, I might get something to go along the side of that. And you're making very conscious choices rather than very impulsive, emotional choices.
Yeah.
So the key for most people is just in that preparation.
Yeah, agreed. What else do you think is hazardous around the Christmas period?
Hazardous, I would say it's more the mindless eating. And if there's alcohol involved, we know how that feels, where you can you can be scranning everything. You just don't care. All your inhibitions disappear. All your logic goes out of the window. And that promise you made to yourself all of a sudden feels a million miles away. So the more that you can actually think, okay, what can I do to have maybe some things like anchor meals, for example. I don't know if I've spoken to you about anchor meals before.
Staples in the day, things that you go back to. Yeah.
So it's more a case of, if you know you're going out in the evening, you could say, right, my breakfast and my lunch, they're going to be on point. And then my 2 anchor meals for today, the evening, I'm just going to let myself go loose. And you know that you've got that wiggle room to still play with.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the mindless eating, because it's fascinating the amount of times that you'll be sat on a sofa and there's a box of celebrations next to you, and there's no part of you that feels hungry. There's no part of you that really wants those celebrations, but you just have them because they're there, and it's mindless eating, and you kind of convince yourself, wow, it's Christmas, I can have what I want.
Yep.
That's really where the damage is done, I think. That little bit of snacking in between.
That's where I think the pausing comes in well. Have you ever heard of the HALT principle? I've got a fly buzzing around.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. I don't know what that says about me.
I think it's these trees, these little plants, they do attract a few flies.
You're too polite, mate. There's flies all around
you
everyone.
Stink, mate. I can't smell from over here, all right?
Where I think I've mentioned the HALT protocol before, which is if you're about to eat something.
It's an acronym, isn't it?
Yeah. So, if you just stop, halt where you are, am I hungry, anxious, lonely, or tired?
Okay.
Odds are you could be all 4 around Christmas time, but it's up to you to decide which one's which. So you could actually be hungry because all you've eaten is loads of junk food and you've metabolized it really quick, and actually just in need for a good bit of nutritious food. Am I anxious? Like, am I going out tonight? Am I a little bit worried about, is my outfit all right? Like, what's everyone else going to be wearing? Am I going to be early? Am I going to be late? Loneliness can be a tough one. Anyone who's ever lost a loved one around Christmas time, it can feel very weird and isolating, because you might feel these emotions and you might withdraw yourself because you don't want to be a Debbie Downer. And then tired, again, if you're on the booze, we know that sleep's absolutely dog shite that night once you've been on booze. So it could be that you just, in this hungover state, you are actually quite tired. And just pausing, asking yourself them 4 things.
It's a vicious cycle, Christmas, isn't it? Because let's say, hands off, you do whatever you want on Christmas Day, eat as many calories you want, eat as much booze as you want. On that following 26th, 27th, you're now probably a bit more tired, less quality of sleep, fueled with shit really isn't making you feel particularly energetic and motivated. Your body just isn't as smooth and as moving as well as you want, so everything feels a bit stiffer and awkward when you get out of bed, and then you're thinking, do I really want to go and train or move today? Probably not.
Yeah.
There's so many things that come as ramifications of that Christmas day, and that's okay. We don't mind that. We can take those, but you've got to be very aware, like you said, of that HALT principle of how you're feeling, and the only way to get around that really is to, again, fall back into habits. Can I wake up and make sure I have a decent pint of water in the morning? Pint of milk, why not? Maybe.
Why not?
Pint of water's better. So pint of water in the morning. Get back into some habits with like a nice healthy breakfast. It's tricky on Boxing Day because there's a lot of fry-ups and things going around. Do you want to swat that fly, mate?
I'm going to, mate. I'm sorry. Anyone who's watching on YouTube, that's so annoying. I look like I'm having like some sort of seizure.
It's one of those where you can smack it as hard as you want, but it doesn't die.
It just laughs at you. It's like another.
You smack it and it's gone, and all of a sudden it appears like 2 minutes later.
You mentioned earlier, Ryan, about maybe training with family around Christmas time. And I think that might be quite a cool tradition for people to introduce. My brothers don't know I'm going to ask them to do this yet, but my little brother lives in Melton Mowbray, and my other brother literally lives up the road from me. But I rarely get to train with them. Okay. So I would like to say to him, like, look, when my middle brother's over, let's all train together. Let's go and get a gym session in, quick, sweaty one, get back to kids, get back to family. Yeah. And I just think that as a nice bonding experience as well is pretty cool. Have you just caught that fly with your hand?
No, I've not. I tried to go like Mr. Miyagi, but I couldn't get it.
Why is it laughing at me?
Oh, it's actually going through your fingers.
Why is it doing that?
Have we got it?
I think I've got... Oh, no, it's there. Right.
Oh, fantastic.
Sorry. Don't come at me, people.
I'm going to squish it, sorry. Peter, don't come at me. I can't have that going round. It's done, dusted, right. No more fly.
No more fly.
No, I agree. I think that making sure that you've got gym sessions penciled in, like days when you know are free. And we talk about Christmas Day being a high calorie day. You're probably going to have, I reckon, for most people, at least 2 other occasions between Christmas and New Year, maybe including New Year, where you know it's going to be a bit boozy, quite a lot of food.
Yeah.
But there's days in there where it's not going to be like that. I'd say really hone in and focus on those. On those days, you go up and beyond. I've literally got nothing planned. It's the first day since maybe it's like the 27th, for example. Boxing Day was quite busy as well. You've got a clear day, nothing in the diary. Just go and dedicate it to like moving loads, meeting up with friends, committing to like an outdoor walk, get yourself in, like we live near the Peak District, so phenomenal, get yourself out in some public parks, and go and pencil in like a high intensity session in the morning. You'll feel, honestly, 10 times better for that as well. You'll feel productive. What's your thoughts around Christmas Eve? We haven't really addressed that yet.
Christmas Eve's always been quite special for us. Ever since Ted come along, we almost wanted to always have some sort of tradition there. So we played around with little bits and bobs. Last year we actually went bowling on Christmas Eve.
Oh, nice.
And then we come back and we made a fish pie. All right. And for some reason, I don't know why.
This is the most random Brad thing I've heard in my life. Christmas Eve making fish pie.
But we tried to make it quite a festive fish pie.
This gets worse. It gets worse.
So I said to Amy and Ted.
Fish isn't festive, mate.
So I said to Amy, I'm like, right, let's get Ted, let's get some little puff pastry, get Ted to just make some little, offcuts. So he's there, making, he loves it. He absolutely loves it, just making these little pie crust, shapes. So rather than it's a very lazy pie, by the way. It's basically like a fish pie mix, and then we just chuck loads of random puff pastry pieces that Ted's cut. So and for me,
nice. But it's good. It's a family thing.
Yeah, it's a nice little thing we did. Makes it sound really weird now that I've said it out loud.
I can't wait to tell the missus about it. I don't believe what Brad's on fucking. He makes a festive fish pie on Christmas Eve.
If anyone else does a festive fish pie, what did we try the other week? It was last year. We tried tarragon in the fish pie.
Tarragon?
You know what tarragon is?
I've heard of it. I'm not sure I tried it. What is it? Weird. Is it a spice?
Yeah, it's like a spice. So I think we tried tarragon and sapphire.
Okay.
So I felt very middle class putting this fucking pie. But I just think it's trying experimenting with things. But Christmas Eve for us has always been very... I think it's hard coming from a family of 3 brothers as well, because we all naturally gravitate to as other halves and making sure they're all right with their family.
Yep.
So it's agreeing that, okay, Christmas Eve is our little solo family time. Christmas Day could be with like Amy's family or my family respectively. And then Boxing Day is the opposite, whoever we spend Christmas Day with. And that's typically how we like to work it. But we've always had Christmas Eve, either us or maybe invite some friends along to whatever we do. But yeah, what about you?
Yeah, you've got your protocols there. Christmas Eve for me has been the treacherous day of the whole process of Christmas, really, because probably going back to like when I was early uni days, we used to go to a local pub near us. It used to be the one day where everyone from our area who went to the same school would always go off like all over the country at different universities, but there was one day of the year, which was Christmas Eve, where everyone used to meet back up at this pub, the Hare and Hounds in Greenmount. Shout out the Hare and Hounds. But it turned into like a bit of a drinking session, and for a few years it was just a few beers and you'd feel a bit ropey, but nothing too bad. And as the years roll on, it got a bit more out of control, right? So one lad, I think, ended up doing 10 pints one year.
Wow.
And we're like, okay, now that is some good effort. And then very quickly, this became the 10-pint challenge amongst the lads.
Yeah, why not?
So I think for about 4 or 5 years in a row, we did what was called the 10-pint challenge. I think the Hare and Hounds opened at like, I don't know, I think it opened at like 2, 3 o'clock and then it closed at like 11, was it? So we had like only a set amount of time, which is, if you think about it, it's more than a beer an hour.
Yeah.
So we've got quite a lot to get through. And there've been many times when the last bell would ring at 11 o'clock and I'd be sat there with 3 full pints thinking I've got to get these down me. Yeah. So I'd say for probably about in my kind of like early teenage years into my mid to late 20s, you're talking like well over maybe a decade or so, I will be so hungover on Christmas Day that I remember one day I got out of bed at 2 p.m. My mum absolutely got on my case, and still to this day it's the worst hangover I've ever had, because I remember, and that was after the 10-pint challenge. I remember I saw off a full bottle of whiskey. You can start to see why I've quit drinking now, can't you?
Yeah, it's all making sense.
Yeah, I used to go absolutely OTT, and that's just again my personality. I'm in for a penny, in for a pound, me. So if I wouldn't drink for like October, November, most of December, and then Christmas Eve would come around and I'd absolutely go carnage.
I think that's quite refreshing for people to hear as well, because from what I've gathered, everyone outside of our industry who has no interest in it seems to think that we're a bit robotic. We're like, do you drink? Did you ever drink?
Yeah.
In fact, I went to my little niece's birthday party on Sunday, and one of her family members, like on my sister-in-law's side, said, do you ever drink then, Brad? I'm like, yeah, sometimes. I'm like, I just didn't think you would.
Yeah.
What do you mean you didn't think I would? I'm like, I can if I want to.
It's weird, isn't it?
Like, I just didn't think you did it. I'm like, okay. And I think it's quite refreshing for people to know that we like a good...
But the truth is, most of the time, I don't. Like, I'm not having the social pints.
Yeah.
My issue was like when it was Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
This is my moment to have as much as I want, and I would fully take advantage of that, and that was the issue. So but in recent years, probably since having the little one, it's really quietened off. Really, I think family's changed that. So probably in the last 4 years or so now, maybe even slightly before Harlow was born, it all kind of started to tame off, because a lot of the lads then got kids, and the Christmas Eve event was started to kind of dwindle in terms of numbers. So. A lot more fresh on Christmas Day, which is quite nice now. I might wake up and make the usual fry up. And we haven't really got like a plan, to be honest with you. It's not something we follow every year in terms of structure around Christmas. We just work out who's free, when we can go and see them. We always have Christmas Day here. We always try and put a big spread on. We try and treat everyone. We don't take any money off them. We just say, look, we're going to treat you for one day. And then Boxing Day, we'll usually go and visit kind of some family and friends. And then it's a bit of a black hole. It's like, who's available? Who wants to do something? But I think as the years have rolled by, we just quite like having a real chill.
Yeah.
Going and visiting some Christmas markets if they're still open, seeing what events are on, see if we can take Harlow to some shows and stuff. But I think kids has been a good equaliser for not having the kind of big sessions and going OTT.
Have you done, speaking of OTT, have you done Panto before? Around?
We did. Oh my God. First experience with Panto last year. She hated it, mate.
Did she?
Hated it, yeah. So we went to Sheffield City Hall.
Yeah.
And what was it we watched? Jack and the Beanstalk. Straight away, you've got this drag queen that comes out, and they're all mic'd up, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I think they've got the volume of the mics wrong.
So it was just booming.
So she comes out, this drag queen, hello everybody, but it was like, it's squeaking in the microphones.
Yeah.
And she went, oh, that was a bit loud. Can we turn the volume down a little bit? So immediately, like, Harlem's crying in pieces. There's some loud noises come out. Amy's taking her outside, and then I've had to go outside, but look, I don't mind. I'll walk around if she wants. So she's like, no, it's fine. I'll walk around. Tried to bring her on a few more times. Didn't happen. Hour and a half has gone by. Full show's kind of like over, and then they've sat in this like ice cream parlour, just eating ice cream. Literally, I think they all ate 3 ice creams by the time we'd finished. So she had a nice time eating ice cream, but she hated it. Funny enough, and he doesn't listen to the podcast, so he won't mind me dobbing him in here. But I was kind of quite excited to see Harlow enjoy the Panto, but I was quickly realising that this wasn't for her, it was more for the adults. And my mum's partner Steve was I've never seen anyone get so involved, mate. He's like 60 odd, he's like clapping his hands on his feet, singing all the numbers. I was like, wow, that's interesting.
It's a bit of a tradition, especially for like my side of the family. It's like Panto in between Christmas and New Year. And I think the Dame who you mentioned earlier, he's been such a staple. I think he's a southerner, but he comes up every year, does the Panto scene in Sheffield.
Right.
He's done it since I were a kid.
Very good at what he does in terms of like working the crowd.
And I always remember like there's loads of adult jokes in Panto, which is just hilarious. Straight up at kids' head, but it is great. Did Harlow not tempted by the bucket game? Am I right in thinking it's the same one where they get bucket game on towards the end?
At the end, yeah. And they've got like buckets, and you got to sit on the bucket. She wasn't even in, mate. She wouldn't come in the room. She couldn't get her through the front doors. You know, like the doors that fit into the theatre. Couldn't get her through it. No.
Maybe one day, mate. Maybe one day. But I think that it's where I look back at Christmas when I were a kid, and it's you look back at it really fondly, don't you? And you sort of go, but then there's certain people whose maybe the job or the career means that they are really, really busy around Christmas. I'd argue that we're not. I think we start winding down. Whereas Amy, because she works, in leisure and sort of as a nail tech, her work really picks up and mine sort of quietens down a little bit.
Okay.
So I sort of all of a sudden become fun dad around Christmas. Right. And we sort of dote on mum a little bit and make sure she's all right. And I just think we approach that probably a bit differently, which really chilled for me, but for Amy, it's almost a release. It's like... It's
funny, isn't it? Certain sectors, like, obviously she's in beauty, so girls want to get all the nails and all of everything sorted for that time of the year. Obviously retail, as we know, is absolutely nuts. We used to do a few years in retail around Christmas. That wasn't fun. But our industry, generally is kind of quieting off a little bit, ready for the January boom, really.
True. Which I think for us as well, it's having those, speaking of traditions, if you can put forward some traditions for your families, because I feel pretty fortunate that I'm from quite an active family who like getting out there and moving, and we've got kids who are very hyperactive who want to move. So every Boxing Day or whenever we all get together, my side of the family, we'll always go out for a Boxing Day walk, just disappear somewhere, have a nice steady walk. And
that's got to be a staple. And I think going above and beyond with that as well, challenge yourself a little bit. Is there something you can go and do that's a little bit kind of, out of the ordinary? Get yourself fatigued, I would say. Get a good hour and a half, maybe a couple hours under your belt.
Just turns into moral support for my mum.
Does it really?
It's just like, come on mum, you can do it. Get up that big hill.
Never a day off work, mate?
But this is it. It's just never switch off, do we? A quick one about, I suppose, mental health as like a rest and reset around Christmas. I briefly mentioned earlier about someone who might be struggling with that loneliness standpoint around Christmas. Maybe they've got empty nesters. Maybe they are on their own. Maybe they're widowed. Maybe they've, the kids are off doing their own thing. That can be quite tough as well, especially keeping on track. So I think it's very important to be aware of your own mental state around Christmas. And if anyone does need to chat, have you got a friendship group? Have you just got one friend who you can turn to?
I'm really glad you mentioned the loneliness aspect before, actually, because there's a lot of people that we're so lucky, and we can't forget that we've got families that are there for us. We can go and spend time at their houses. They'll put on an amazing meal for us if we want. We've got so many options when it comes to Christmas. There's a lot of people out there that haven't. It's really like. So I've had clients say it's a real upsetting time of the year because, maybe they're quite insular, maybe they're a little bit introverted, maybe they just haven't got the family, and their social network isn't as vast as most people's, and this time when everyone else is being really jovial, and obviously online as well, you've seen a lot more things around Christmas, what people are doing, what they're up to, having fun, and you're stuck in this little place. And I guess from, if you are on a program at that point where you were trying to lose weight, achieve some fitness goals, use that time a bit more wisely. I remember one lady who was in this same boat, and she was like, you know what, they might have the fun now, but I'm going to have the fun, really, because I'm the one that's going to progress. I'm going to use this time efficiently when other people aren't. And she saw it as a bit of a game of right, they're slacking, and while they're slacking, I'm going to crack on. And she used it as fuel a little bit. I'm not saying that's a healthy way of doing it for sure, but it worked for her. And she came out in December and she was like, you know what, that was the best December I've ever had, because I didn't give in to the usual treats, sat in front of the TV, watching a movie, wallowing in my own pit. I actually went and did something productive, and they said, right, honestly, I feel so much better coming into January having done that. So I'm not saying it works for everyone, but it is an option for sure.
I think that's the nuance between understanding what's best for someone like me and you compared to someone who is in that state where maybe they're at a different stage of life, they've got a different motivator. Just being super aware that not everyone is in the same boat. There's something that I wrote down here, which is, can you trade perfection for presence? And I think a lot of time, Christmas time can pass people by. Have you ever heard the I have to versus I get to debate?
Yes.
Yeah,
for sure.
I do that a lot around December time, where there's times where we always do some sort of Santa visit with Ted and Nova and my mates' kids as well, and just be really aware that I get to do this. Amy keeps sending me things which is there's mum's laid in bed with the kids, and it says this is where I'm going to go to in my dreams when I'm 80 years old. And it's such a deep thing where you're like, oh shit, yeah, I really need to absorb this.
There's that really nice passage, wasn't there? I think we've read it have you read it on the podcast before, or have I read it, where there's a lady and she's 80 years old and she has a dream, and all of a sudden in that dream she wakes up and she's 35 again, and she's got her 3 little babies around her. That, I think either you sent it me or someone else sent it me. It's an amazing memory of what the good times were, but you're in that moment right now.
Yeah.
And you're not seeing it as what it is. You're seeing it as this I've got this kid running around, we've got to go and do this over Christmas, we're travelling around, it's stressful, we've got to make you. When you're 60, 70, 80 and the kids have left, they're growing up, they've got their own families, you'll miss those mornings. So appreciate it now. If you've got kids, especially for the parents who listen, enjoy every moment over Christmas for sure. Yes, focus on yourself. And with this, that's what the whole podcast is about, giving you advice. But the underlying thing is go and enjoy time with your family, because there's nothing like Christmas when you've got young kids around as well. And it's more than just presents. It's time for sure, time with them. And I guess tying it into your goals, let's go and find things that are active for the kids to do as well. There's so many things out there that are a good family workout. And to be honest with you, with all the sweets and sugars that are going to be having over Christmas, you'll need something to tire them out.
Should we touch on that actually? Because I've made a little segment here about parenting through December as well, because I'm aware of how difficult that can be. Especially, I've spoken at length before about worrying if ever Ted gets spoiled, because it's a hard one. He's such a sweet, loving kid. He deserves everything. But at the same time, I'm aware that he's at that age where he's very influential. He's very easily influenced, should I say. So I don't want him to associate, it's Christmas, presents. It's no, Christmas is family time. Presents is a nice byproduct about how good you've been throughout the year. And I sort of saw that creeping in last year a little bit, where you were presents. And I'm like, yeah, but Ted, it's not about the presents. And I saw this quote which were presents over presents. And it really fascinated me, that quote. So 2 different words there. Presents mean here and now, over the presents that you receive.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I'm thinking about my own child as you say that. And I'm thinking how much that ship sailed for me. Oh, God. Literally to the point where it was Halloween and she was like, I know I get sweets, but do I get presents on Halloween as well? And I was like, we've gone too far, Amy. We need to sort this out. And then what I've done is I've actually implemented a 1 present rule this year.
I remember you saying, yeah.
Have I mentioned this on the podcast before? Yeah. And I went to my mum's this weekend, and she goes, I could tell she was a bit annoyed about it because I think she's bought a few things already. She was okay, right, okay. And when she pronounces that T, right, okay, yes, right, that's when I know she's pissed off. And she went, right, after return a few things, then I'm like, if that's the case, fine, no worries. But I've no one present rule. And I went, what would be quite nice is, and I was thinking about my own house here, so I'm not surrounded with presents. If you got an experience, like something she can go and do, and she went, oh yeah, I like that. Let me have a think about it. So. She's going to get us like a I think it's like a day pass or maybe like a night over at Alton Towers, for CBeebies Land and stuff. I think it's actually a much better thing.
That's cool.
She'll have enough things to open. Like we're going to get some presents, right? But she doesn't need to spend all day like she did last year opening presents. She got present opening fatigue. I told you that, didn't I? Like that should never be a thing with a kid, and that's definitely pushed by my missus and my mum for sure because they like that. We were the same when we were kids. Yeah. They wanted us to have an overwhelming amount of presents to open, but you don't value it. We've spoke about it, I think, on when it was around Harlow's birthday as well. But Mum came to me and she went, well, if Harlow's getting one present, I'll have to get you one present as well. It doesn't have to supply to Harlow. And she was expecting me to go, oh no, Mum, I'm not going to get 20 presents. I was like, fine, absolutely fine by me. If I've got less things to open, less wrapping paper to put away.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
I always remember my mum wrapping up like individual like selection boxes and stuff like that, to make the pile look massive. And I'm like, cheers, Mum. Like, I know what's in this because I know you by now.
My mum's a nightmare for it. I remember when we were kids, right? We used to have stockings, the stockings. We don't really do those anymore. Do you do stockings?
Stockings? Yeah, we do little.
Yeah.
Because Amy's family do like Christmas Eve presents or like little or table gifts on Christmas Day.
We did that last year.
That blew my head off.
We call it a Christmas Eve box now, they're calling it. Have you ever seen this?
Yeah.
When did the Christmas Eve box become a thing?
Consumerism.
I mean, there's any excuse to buy more shites, basically. Like, I mean, our stocking fillers, every year I get like a nail clipper. I've got 7 of these, Mum, thanks. I get like a little pen knife. I always thought was sketchy as a kid, but I'd have like, I'd have like I'd have a nail file on there as well. I'd have like little scissors on there. Yeah. What else to do is to get like you get a bouncy ball with like a little light in it. And loads of a crap that you would never use. I'm never going to use any of those things, but she just wanted us to have like a big stocking full of stuff. But no, we've introduced this one present rule now. So we're going to, if you can get something big, it can be an experience preferably. But, we'll get a few little bits. And I do want it to be more about that. Yeah. It might be a bit of a shock to the system this year on Christmas Day. And we might have to explain to her, you've not been bad, it's okay. Like, it's just, you're not getting as many presents as you get older now. But, yeah, I mean, look, I've told you before, look around this room, we can't fit anything else in here, do you know what I mean? There's no more floor space. I'm going to start putting shelves up. So, yeah, I think the quality of the family time is something we really want to drive home with. And I think experiences might reinforce that. Like if we can get out on like kind of traditional walk somewhere, or we go and do an experience like, CBeebies Land over that time, she understands that those holidays are about spending time with family and doing fun things rather than opening things.
100%. Do you mind if I bring it back to the Christmas Eve boxes?
Go for it. Sorry,
I've got a make or break question for you.
Okay.
Matching family pyjamas.
Oh, mate.
You're not the guy.
Please don't tell me you're matching pyjamas, man.
I refuse.
Thank fuck for that.
Amy what did she get? She put it forward, and I'm like, Amy, I can't. I'm like, there's something deep inside me that says, I can't.
I think we've spoken about this before. Every time you see a photo of a family online, look at the dad. Look into his eyes hard in that photo. And even if he's smiling, look a little bit closer. Because those eyes...
Looks dead inside, don't they?
They are dead. It's not a photo he's happy to be part of, I tell you now.
Yeah. Which I keep getting sent like... I think it's mainly Tyson Fury memes. When it's like...
I know which one.
My mate wearing matching pyjamas with his family, and I've seen him do some diabolical stuff. It's like, that is not you, mate.
Yeah. What's happened? Brilliant. And like, show me that photo, and I'll show you a bloke who don't wear the trousers.
Wears matching pyjamas
Show
instead.
me a photo of a bloke who wearing matching pyjamas with his whole family, and I'll show you a bloke who does not wear the trousers. The worst ones are the blokes who are actually initiating it. The ones who, I mean, those guys want some kind of test doing because they're not right in the head, those blokes.
Domesticated men.
They are doing the domesticating, I think.
That's what I mean. Domesticated men. Modern men have changed. We've discussed this, right?
We have. See our previous episode for our thoughts. I've got some more facts for you.
Let's go for it.
We've spoke about sleep quality and how that declines. It actually declines by around 30 to 40 minutes per night over the December period. Obvious things, alcohol, holiday stress, interference with REM cycles, and the stress around Christmas Day apparently is a big one as well. Like worrying about how that day is going to go. I'm imagining more so for the girls than the boys. People spend more on supplements and fitness gifts. Online searches and purchases for protein powders, fitness trackers, and running shoes spiked by 20 to 40% in December. Fitness gear ranks among the top 5 most gifted products in categories for the US.
Wow.
Vegetable consumption drops. Grocery data show that fresh produce sales dip in December, while processed and baked goods increased by 50%. Doesn't surprise me. I'm partial to a mince pie, mate, I'm not gonna lie. Heart attacks are more common in late December. The highest rate of heart attacks occurs between Christmas Day and New Year's Day every year, likely due to a mix of overheating, stress, cold weather, and neglecting medication routines. That's interesting. I didn't think about that.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, but obviously out of routine, not taking your medication. The overheating as well, that's interesting. So you're obviously in rooms with lots of people and the heating's on. I've had that so many times over Christmas where I'm full of food, I'm burning up.
Meat sweats.
5-6 people in the room, and windows suddenly go open. Metabolism naturally slows down a bit because of reduced daylight. People move less and eat more, which can cause temporary drop in daily calorie burn by about 100 to 200 calories per day. The turkey trot effect. What's that? The turkey trot effect lingers. Many people who participate in Thanksgiving or early December charity runs are more likely to maintain running habits throughout the winter than non-participants. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
The turkey trot effect. I like the name of that.
That's very cool.
If you can get moving over early December, you're much more likely to continue that throughout the new year. So maybe that's a good little thing to get into. Maybe rather than us saying like, right, December is something where you should maintain, can you maybe even trump that and go, actually, I'm going to start something in December? I don't know. It's a long shot, but some people will do it for sure.
If I can pick up on that, I've got a contact in the industry who swears by this. He says, look, if you are brand new to the gym and you want to start in December because the gyms are quiet as.
Yeah.
Like the drop off. I think it's gyms are 30% busier in January. That's the average. But gyms are also 50% less busy in December. So if you are a bit nervy and you want a bit of momentum, like why not go and try it? Because it's nice and chilled. You can get on everything you want. You can get prepared for, I call it like January proof in your workouts, but that's for another podcast. But yeah, just maybe
you're
get a bit
absolutely
of
right.
momentum.
Like what's the big nervousness around people starting back in the gym? It's the busyness, and you're never going to get that more than in January. So I think if you're looking to get over that nervousness early doors, definitely get yourself back in the gym for December, 100%. What's the next one? So exercise motivation shifts from appearance to mood. That's interesting. Survey shows that in December, over 60% of people exercise to feel better mentally compared to in the summer. 45% of people train for aesthetics. Vitamin D levels hit their lowest in the northern hemisphere. Vitamin D drops to an annual around mid-December. Annual lows, around mid-December due to short days and less sunlight. And the pre-resolution effect around December 28th to 30th. There's quite a surge in people signing up for gym memberships and logging workouts. This is exactly what we just spoke about, isn't it? Yeah. I kind of warm up before the official New Year resolution kicks in. So people actually sign up between the 28th to the 30th. So that's usually the highest days of memberships. But that's just people prepping, I guess, isn't it? So if you can get in before them, get a good few weeks under your belt, that'd definitely be advisable.
I got this idea recently from Chris Williamson, actually, because I did his, it was like a reflective, not a journal. It must have been like 10 questions. I'm a huge reflective person around like Christmas and New Year, just because it's quiet. So you have a lot more time to think and maybe set your goals for the year ahead and just sort of think about, okay, how did this year go? What can I reflect on? And Chris Williamson's amazing at these steady prompts. So I am in the process of just trying to create something like that for myself and the people who follow me and the people I work with, just to try and give them something similar that I can prompt them with some questions and just help them understand that, you know, if you are in that sort of position and you want some questions to lead your answers. It's such a cool way it's quiet, get a notepad and pen out.
Be reflective.
Be reflective.
Yeah, 100%. Did you have any more notes for the December episode?
Just a very quick one about, I mentioned before we started, the December drift effect, and maybe why motivation does drop. And you mentioned about lack of sunlight, vitamin D drops, sometimes B vitamins can drop and your immune system takes a bit of a whack. It seems a bit stop-start for most people, these, dark mornings and dark nights. It does seem to, causes a bit of problems. So I always encourage people just short and sharp with your movement. You mentioned it right at the start of the podcast about you don't necessarily have to be in the gym for an hour. If you're busy, you can have 20 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes. Can you do a little bit of something from home? Just, again, you are what you prioritise in this case.
Yeah, I concur. I think one thing I wrote down in my notes was, when we first started this, was, let me just scroll back to at the top here. It says, December isn't a month off. That's the first thing I wrote down on my notes for this episode. When I was thinking about what we're going to say, I put December isn't a month off. Because some people will treat it like that.
Yep.
It's whatever you make it. If you're wise strong enough and you want to really go for it in December, you can do. I've seen we get loads of people every year who actually progress massively over December period. They have a great 3 weeks. They have a little bit of a looser week. And then if we go from like where they started on December 1st to January 1st, they've actually come down in weight. Yeah. So you can definitely do it if you're savvy. And we spoke about that week between Christmas and New Year quite a lot. But there's still 3 other weeks in the year there, in the month there, sorry. And that's something you should really focus on. And that week can be very, tricky, and it's a bit of a damage limitation. But have a good solid 3 weeks leading into Christmas Day. I guess my final thoughts would just be more flexible in the dieting in terms of hitting your macros, calories, whilst quality drops. Definitely have Christmas Day off. Definitely try and spend more time with your family being active. That's the big thing for me. And plan ahead. Like if you're looking at your December and going, wow, every single weekend I've got something on. Sit down, end of November, even now if you wanted to. Depends when this goes out, to be fair. Might go out a few weeks' time, might be close to end of November. Sit down and plan out your month. Yeah. Plan out your whole month. Just sit down and go, right, every weekend, where am I going to find that half an hour to go and do something? A cheeky little run, cheeky little workout, some sessions during the week. A lot of people's work ramps up over December because people are knowing that they're going to have 2 weeks off. So there's a lot of things tend to ramp up quite, a lot during the week. I always say to clients with busy weeks, just go and plan and sit down and schedule in. If you've got a Google Calendar, pencil all those things into your calendar. Have it like almost like a bit of a Bible, a guide for the month that you're going to follow. Take away the guesswork. That's probably my biggest advice for December.
I suppose a little parting message from me is going to be down the route of, if you are struggling, just make sure you talk. Because I've highlighted the benefits earlier about being reflective and setting your goals and stuff. Most people in modern living don't really have that time to sit and reflect and be in the quiet of their own mind sometimes. And I'm aware that how damaging that can be for some people. So by all means, set yourself goals, enjoy yourself. Like Ryan said, December isn't necessarily a month off. It can be a week off in December if you really want to push it. But if you are struggling, just please talk, because I'm aware that it can be tough, that reflective period.
It's a nice parting message. And what I will say is, we know agony ants, but we're more than happy to give some advice if need be. And you can probably best place to contact us is at Fit Dads Podcast on Instagram. That's we check those most days, don't we? So if you ever really are struggling, by all means, feel free to reach out. Absolutely.
And if this has helped, please go ahead and just leave a rating review. It does really help more people find us. And again, if you know someone who's struggling or sometimes struggles in December, send them this. Hopefully it's helpful. Yeah, absolutely. Let's get everyone smashing it during December. That's the goal. Guys, thank you as always for joining us on the Fit Dads Podcast. See you next one. See you soon. Cheers, mate. My man. Awesome.